Oregon Joint Line! Hi everyone, this is a video describing the operation of the Oregon and Northeastern Logging Railroad on the N-scale Oregon Joint Line layout. The ONNE is meant to be patterned after real Eastern Oregon log haulers such as the Oregon, California, and Eastern, and the Oregon and Northwestern. Today's power for the Oregon and Northeastern is Lee, Spokane, Portland, and Seattle GP9 number 151. Here's the overall track plan for ONNE's Scanlon Yard area and the yard status beginning the day. After the crew receives instructions from the trainmaster, the first order of business is to switch out the inbound interchange transfer left by the Great Northern switch crew the previous day. Cars are classified by their ultimate destination of the chip track, the plywood mill, or the pulp mill. The crew runs to the other end of the yard to pull empty wood chip racks out of the pulp mill chip track. Next, the chip loads, which are already sorted out, are shoved into the chip track for unloading. After that, the crew runs down the pulp mill lead to pull cars from the pulp mill, chemical, and paper tracks. Next, the crew spots some empty boxcars into the paper mill loading track. The crew spots and pulls the plywood mill, sorting the outbound cars into blocks for the Northern Pacific and the Great Northern. With all of our customers at Scanlon happy, it's now time to make the log run out to Canyon Reload. We pull our string of empty log flats through the yard, grab our caboose, and then we're ready to head for Canyon Reload. But before we can depart, we need to wait for an Oregon Joint Line train at Oregon and Northeastern Crossing. The track arrangement at Canyon Reload is fairly simple. Just a loading track, a runaround track, a fuel track, and a tail track at the end. All we need to do here is swap out the empties for the loads, get the engine on the head end and the caboose on the rear, and return to town. However, I've seen a lot of operators really struggle to accomplish this task. The simplest way is just to come against the loads on the loading track and then shove out onto the tail track, leaving the empties on the loading track, and then come down the runaround track, tie under your caboose, and away you go. Oregon Northeastern Scanlon Yard. Did you say 19? Okay, I've got 16 cars to go back to you. Looking at the yard, it's hard to see how we'll land a 19-car train and get the power back to the other end, so we'll need to take advantage of every resource at our disposal.
NP transfer to Scanlon.
Scanlon Yard.
Yeah, we're here with 19 cars for you.
Okay, NP transfer. Okay, to start them in, set your head 10 cars to the pulp mill lead to make sure you clear the crossing. Then you can bring the rest of your train against your outbound cars on track 2, shove through to the south end. Then you can run through track 1, double to the rest of your outbound cars on track 3, grab your caboose, and okay to depart.
Okay, set the head 9 to the pulp mill lead, shove through track 2, run through track 1, double to track 3, grab our caboose, and okay to depart.
That's correct, and my crew is making the run to Canyon reload, so the yard is all yours.
Roger that. Thank you, Scanlon. NP transfer out.
By using the pulp mill lead as a temporary yard track, we free up some storage in the yard to make the move. Of course, eventually the customers at the pulp mill will need a switch, so we can't leave the cars there indefinitely, but for now it's a handy place to stash them when we need the room. Now let's get back to our Oregon and Northeastern crew, which is headed back to the mill with a trainload of ponderosa pine logs. There's a message at Canyon Reload from the trainmaster at Scanlon that we need to pick up 3 loads of logs at Mile 5 siding. Back in steam days, sidings like Mile 5 would have been used typically for meeting and passing other log trains with the shorter and more frequent trains. But in diesel days, they were more often used for car storage. First thing we'll do when we get back to Scanlon is spot the 3 loaded log cars we picked up at Mile 5 siding to the plywood mill log track. Then we'll run around our train and shove the rest of the log loads into the pulp mill log track. As long as we're already down at this end of the yard, it's a good time to grab those cars that the NP transfer set over to the pulp mill lead. Then we'll classify the cars from the inbound MP transfer for the various industry spots at Scanlon. Then we could spot the pulp mill chemical track and paper mill tracks. And then the plywood mill. And then finally we can pull any empty wood chip cars out of the chip track and fill it full of loaded chip cars. Oregon Northeastern Scanlon Yard.
Yeah, this is Great Northern Dayville Yard. My transfer's on the way to you with 8 cars.
Okay, on your way with 8, and I believe that's what I have for you as well. Scanlon to the GN transfer.
GN transfer.
Okay, to enter Scanlon, I'm going to have my switch job pull out track 4. That's your outbound. You can bring your inbound into track 4, leave your cars there. Grab your outbound cars off the south lead there, working with my job, and then you can pull down through track 1, grab your caboose, and depart.
Okay, to follow your switch job into track 4, leave our inbound there, grab our outbound off the south lead, work them into your job, pull through 1, grab our caboose, and okay to depart.
That's correct. Scanlon out.
All right, have a safe day. GN job out.
We've now completed an entire day on the Oregon to Northeastern, and the yard is essentially the same situation as when we started. It's a very popular job in the Oregon joint line layout, and I hope you enjoyed seeing how it works.